This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone. So in our last class, we have seen the read operation end to end. So to call the read operation, you need to write the entity set followed by the round brackets, and then you need to pass the primary key. So this particular URL will go and call your employee set underscore get underscore entity. So this is what we have done in our last class. So if I click, so you can see the details of Amit has been displayed in the second page. So let me just fill other fields as well. So let us go to the view 2. And let me just fill all other fields. As of now, we fill only 3 fields. So let me just designation, and then what else? Skill. Designation, skill, maybe status, date of joining, all right. Right. So here again, you can also apply the color by applying the formatter. So here also you can do by applying the formatter, guys. So here and here. Even here also, if you want, you can apply the formatter. So how to apply the formatter? So this is view 2. So for the view 2 also you can call the same formatter.js instead of you create it in new. So we already have under the model folder, so we have the formatter.js. So the formatter.js is having the format date function as well as format status, which gives the color, right? So even format skill also there, so which gives the color. So if you want, you can call these. So how to call this? Just go and recap how you have called from the view 1. So in the view 1, how you called the formatter. So you are the text UI element has the text binding. So you are sending this date of joining as a parameter to the function, formatter function, that is format date, right? So what is this .f dot? The first dot refers to the controller. So it goes to the view 1 controller. And if you remember, in the view 1 controller, we loaded the formatter. So this is the shortcut name of the formatter. And for the view to access the formatter, we have given F:formatter. So this particular F can be referred from the view, right? So that is what is written here, .f dot. So same thing you can do in the view 2 controller also. So go to your view 2 controller and load the formatter. So this is the formatter. So load it here, give the shortcut name, and then write F:formatter. Now F is accessible from the view. F is accessible from the view. So now you can copy this particular text, go to the view 2, and you can call it from here also, date of joining. Got it? So same date of joining we are calling from the second view. So now you will find this in a nice dd-mm-yy. So similarly, the status can be colored. So you can color this particular status. So this is object status. Now pass this status to the formatter function by writing formatter : dot f dot format status. That's all. So by the way, this is text. You need to the same text, but for color you want to apply the formatter. So text should be same. I do not have any problem with the text. Text should display the same. The color of the text should change. So the color will be decided by the state property. So we already discussed this object status UI element. So you can, if you have forget, then you can just go and revisit. Now you can see it is coming in green color because it is permanent. But if I go back and click on some contract, so here also it comes in the red color. Okay. All right. This is still part of the yesterday's class. So in today's class, what we are going to do by end of the day, end of the class. So what we are going to achieve is we are going to create another table. We are going to create another table for this employee. And for each and every employee, I'm going to manage some projects. So I'm going to create some projects. And whatever the projects that are created for each employee, so those will be displayed in the second tab. So one second guys, getting a call. So we are going to create another table. The table name is projects table, and the projects table will store all the projects of all the employees. And in the front end, so in the OData also we are going to create an extra entity, just like we created employee entity. We are going to create another entity called project entity. When you create project entity, again 5 set of methods will be created for the project entity also. Projects underscore create entity, update entity, get entity, set, delete entity. All the 5 methods will be created for the project entity also. And then we are going to create something called association to establish the relation between these two entities. So what is a relation, by the way? One employee can have any number of project experience, right? If you take myself, I have around 25 project experience. So similarly, if you take Saileja, so she can have some 10 projects experience. So each and every employee has a different number of project experience. Okay, so here the relation is 1 to n. We call this kind of relation as 1 to n. So in real time, whatever the projects that you work, I can say 99.99% all the projects will have this 1:n relationship. You can also have 1:1 relation, but if you understand 1:n relation, 1:1 relation is nothing. Okay? 1:1 relation is nothing. So if this projects are not there for at least one employee. Did they deleted it or what? No. So somebody has deleted these projects, but anyway, does not matter. So we are going to create now. So let's log into the backend. So to create the table, we already created our first table. So this is our second table. So it's 11, and just go and create your table. So I'm going to create our projects table. Click on create, give some description. So just select the A here and display maintenance allowed, click fields, and in this table I am going to create two primary keys. One is employee ID and second one is the project code. And then so we can write project name and project description. And you can also write for which client you are working. So these are the 5 fields. So some of you might be having a doubt like why 2 primary keys are needed in this particular table. See, what is the concept of primary key? So I am not explaining this to ABAPers, those who are non-ABAPers, those who are completely not from any database background. For those people I am explaining this. So basically primary key means a unique identification of a table. In our employee table, employee ID is the primary key because no 2 employees will have same employee ID. No 2 employees will have the same employee ID. But now in this particular table I am going to store all the projects of all employees, right? And moreover, I told one employee can have more than 1 project experience. So that means if you take an employee who has 2 project experience, then employee ID will get repeated in this table, right? For example, 100001, this is project 1. Okay, this is project 1, for example. Now same 100001. So who is the same employee? He has project 2 experience also. Now 2 records with the same employee ID. So this also belongs to 100001. This also belongs to the same employee. Now what is the primary key concept? The primary key concept is no 2 rows can have same primary key, same employee ID in this case. So what we do in that in these kind of situations, we combine the multiple fields and call that as a key. So this is the primary key now. So if I say both employee ID and project code, so both are primary keys, then you need to compare with this combination. So in this particular combination, this is only 1 row and this is another row, right? Now this is not same as this one because the project code differs. Even though the employee ID is same, but the project code differs. Okay, so that's the reason we need to keep 2 primary keys in this table. Okay, all right, so let's go and define the project code 8 characters. Then this is, sorry, employee ID 8 characters and project code, maybe I can give 8 characters for this also, and project name, so let's give some 100 characters. Project description, so description we can give 500 characters also, but let's keep it simple, 100 characters. Client name, I'm just giving, so just give some 20 characters, that's enough. Okay, so normally the client name will not take more than 10 characters, but we have given 20 characters, so which is more than sufficient. All right, so that's it. Save it. I'm saving that into a local object, and then let's next thing is technical settings. You can just click on the activate button, so it will take you to the technical settings anyway. So give the data class size category, so that's all. Save it. So warnings you can ignore, so that's fine. Now click on the no button. Now this particular table is in the active stage. So I can go and create some entries. We have 3 employees, Amit, Anil, Babji. I'm going to create the projects for these 3 employees. So let's click on the more, utilities, table contents, create entries. Right. So first employee, who is first employee? Our first employee is Amit. 100001. Employee ID, how much characters I have given? 6, right? So I think I have given 8. That's wrong. So let me just go to the table once. This should not be 8. Sorry. So let me give 6 guys. And this one also let's give 6. That's fine. Let's activate this. Yeah, this is active now. Okay. Now again, utilities, table contents, create entries. Now 100001. Yeah. So project code. So I can use some nonsense project code as of now. Don't worry. So this is Amit, right? So let me follow something like this. Project Amit 01. Okay. So that's the project code. Project name. Project 1 for Amit. This is project 1 for Amit, and project description also I'm just giving like this. And client name, let's say Vodafone, okay, something. Okay. So let me save it. Now, so one project for Amit, that's fine. Just for a differentiation, we'll create 2 projects for Anil, and for Babji we will create 3 projects. So Amit has 1 project experience, Anil has 2 project experience, and Babji has 3 project experience. Okay, so this is saved, right? Now let us take another. So employee ID, this is 100002. This is Anil, so I'm just taking as project for Anil, AN01. Okay, so let us take project 1 for Anil. Okay, and project description also I'm writing project 1 for Anil. And the client name, let me give Apple. Save it. Now I am going to create second project for Anil. So project code will change. So this is the project code Anil02, and let me write this as project 2 for Anil. And client name, so I can give same client name or I can change it. So that's our so let me give another client name. So let me give IKEA. Okay, fine. So 2 projects we have created for Anil, and now let's take 100003, and I think we decided 2 projects only for Anil, right? So 100003 is Babji. Okay. So for Babji we'll create 3 projects. So project for Babji. Project for Babji 01, and let me write this as project 1 for Babji, and this will also same. I'm giving the description also same as of now. So client name, let us take the client name as the body shop. Body shop. Okay, so let's save. Now let's change the second project. This project 2. Project 2 for Bobby, and the client name is what's the client name? Let's take the client name as Nokia. Save. Next, project 3. This is of the project 3, and this one client name. Let us give the client name something new. MG UK, National Grid actually. Yeah, all right. So we have created one project for Amit, 2 projects for Anil, and 3 projects for Babji. So let us go and check our database table records. Okay, so let's go back, go to more and click on the contents and just click on execute. So project 1 for Amit, project 1 for Anil, project 2 for Anil, and for Babji 3 records, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so database records created successfully. Just give me 1 second, guys. Somebody are bothering about me. Just a second. All right. So our database table records has successfully created. So after creation of the table, the next step is to create the corresponding entity in your OData. Because creation of the table is back-end thing. So if you want to expose your table to the front end, you can't expose or you cannot communicate directly to the database table. This is something which we already know. So we need to create an entity for exposing this database table to the front end. So let's go to SEGW. So you can just go back here itself. SEGW and create your new entity under the data model. So right click on the data model and you can create the entity like this, but this takes a lot of time. So directly import the DDIC structure. It is still in the display mode. So import the DDIC structure. Now let's give the name for the entity, that is project entity, and give your ABAP structure, that is ZB72_projects. Now click on the next. So it will pull all the fields from the table, select all of them and click next. And select the primary key. So this is employee ID and project code, both are primary keys. So select both of them, click finish. Now, so very quickly your entity got created, that is project entity. So just like you have the employee entity, so similarly we have the project entity. Okay, right. Any changes that are done to the data model, so you need to generate the runtime objects. So select the project and click on generate runtime objects. So always remember, whenever any change to the data model happens, you need to regenerate the runtime objects. So when you do that, then only the new 5 set of methods will be created for the project entity. So the DPC extension class will also get freshly generated, and even your MPC, all these things will get regenerated again. Okay, right. So now let's go and see if I get all the 5 new set of methods in the DPC extension class or not. So I'm just going down. Now you can see till here, these are the 5 set of methods for employee. So employee set underscore create, delete, get entity set, update entity set, okay, and create entity. Sorry, so till here only, update entity. Now, so if you see at the bottom, again you have the 5 set of methods for project entity. So project set underscore create entity, project set underscore delete entity, project set underscore get entity set, and update entity. So this is the very important thing to understand, guys. So whenever you create create any entity, the 5 set of methods will be created for that particular entity. Now out of those 5 set of methods, there is no rule that you need to implement all the 5 methods with the logic. No, not needed. Basing on your scenario. So if your requirement demands, then only you write the logic. Otherwise, don't write the logic. Okay. So if you have the requirement, then you redefine the method and write the logic. If you do not have the requirement, don't write it. Okay. Yeah. So that's basically about the regeneration of the runtime objects. Okay, so let's go back. So whenever you create a more than one entity, guys, the first thing that you should do is you need to check, is there any relation between these 2 entities? Yes, almost any of the real-time projects, whenever you create some tables, definitely each and every table will be related with the other table some or the other way. Only some tables will be there which are totally independent, very rare, but most of the tables will definitely depend on each other. Okay, so you need to identify the relation between the tables. Normally the relation will be 1-to-1 or 1-to-n. So 1-to-1 relation means one record in the primary table, that is the main table, will have only one record in the other table also, which is a easy scenario. That is, 1-to-1 relation is very easy. But the main thing we need to see is 1-to-n relation, because I said 99.99% in the real time you have this 1:n relation only. 1:1 relation if you have, that is automatically covered in 1:n. You no need to worry about it. So after identifying the relation, so in this case the relation is one record in the employee, that is one employee can have n number of project experience in the project table. Okay, so in simple words, one record in employee table can have multiple records in the project table because he can have multiple project experience. This is called 1:n relation. So 1:1 relation means one record in the employee will have only one record in the other table also, which is easy scenario. Okay, so that particular relation between the tables is to be defined by using something called association. Association means defining the relation between the tables. Defining the relation between the tables. So this has to be defined here by right clicking on the association, and you need to create association. So you might wonder why this particular association need to be created. So the answer for this one you will understand by end of the class. Okay, just wait. Why this suddenly it's loading? Okay, right. So let us create this association by right clicking on this and go to create association. So you can click on create, otherwise you can go to data model also, create association. So like this also you can do. This is taking a little more time than expected. Yeah, yes, okay. So this is the window where we create the association. So here we need to give few important things. First, association name. It has a naming convention, and that is parent entity followed by TO2 and then child entity name. So we need to write like this: employees to projects. Employees to projects. So if you give the naming convention like this, it will give you the complete meaning like, okay, this is the association, means relation between employees and projects. Okay, right. So that is the syntax for association name. And next one is the principal entity. Principal entity means parent entity. Dependent entity means child entity. So principal entity, you need to select your main entity, which is employee. Dependent entity, you need to select your child entity, which is project. And here you need to select the cardinality. Cardinality means the relation between the tables. In real time, you will have 1:1 or 1:n. So I'm selecting 1:n. Okay, so 1:n indicates one record in the employee table can have n number of project records. Now the most important thing in the entire window is this navigation property. So what is this navigation property? That is difficult to explain, but it is easy to show. So what this navigation property can do? So it does so much of miracles, especially in the front end. Okay, so that you will understand by end of the class. But as of now, instead of explaining what is navigation property, let me just give the naming convention that we need to follow for the navigation property. So we need to give followed by 2 and then child entity name. The child entity name is project or projects. So you need to give 2 projects. Okay, so navigation property should always start with TO2, 2 and then the child entity name. Okay, the child entity name can be, your actual child entity name is project, but you can give projects. This is just a naming convention, not a technical name, right? So just a naming convention, that's all. Now click next. So here in the dependent property, so basically this table indicates to select your referential constraint. So referential constraint is nothing but your foreign key. So employee ID is a primary key in the employee table. So for this particular association, you need to select this foreign key. Foreign key is nothing but our employee ID that is present in the, so select the employee ID that is present in the project table. So in our project table also we have the employee ID, correct? But that employee ID act like a foreign key because employee ID is primary key in your employee table. Right? Employee ID belongs to which table actually? It belongs to employee table only. But what this employee ID is doing in the other table? It is there in the other table to recognize whose project it is. Is the project belongs to Anil, Amit, Babji, whose project it is, to identify. So for that purpose, the employee ID is there in the other table also. So since it's other table, it is called foreign key. So that becomes a dependent property here. Okay. So click next and finish. So since the association got created, that means you have changed the data model. So you need to select the project and click on regenerate the runtime objects. So in